Okay, so I think it's safe to say most of our listeners have heard of the shadowing technique.
Yeah.
Well, to sound more like a native English speaker, right?
Of course.
Today we're going, a little deeper,
Yeah.
deeper than the basics.
Deeper,
But
yeah.
did you know this technique can even impact your brain beyond language?
That's right. Yeah, there's some really cool research.
Yeah, it's pretty wild. I'm excited to untack all of this with you.
It's going to be fun.
Okay, so shadowing, I think our listeners, they've probably heard that word.
Right.
But what is the core concept here? What are we talking about?
So it's basically you listen to a native English speaker
Okay.
and you're repeating almost simultaneously.
Okay.
And you're trying to match their pronunciation, their tone, even their pauses.
I've tried this before.
Yeah.
And it's really harder than it sounds.
It is, yeah.
It feels almost like, those super fast auctioneers trying to keep up.
Yeah, that's a great comparison.
Yeah.
I like it really highlights why this technique is so powerful.
Yeah, right.
Because you're training your mouth muscles
Right.
to form sounds in a way that a textbook just can't teach you.
Right.
Plus, you're getting used to that natural rhythm and flow of English,
Right.
which is key for sounding fluent.
Yeah, I mean it's like an athlete, right?
Yeah.
Who's mimicking their coach's form.
Yeah.
They're not just learning theory. They're embodying the movements to get better.
Absolutely, yeah.
So, what are some of the biggest, I guess, I don't unlockables, I guess you could say,
Yeah.
that our listener can expect, from adding this to their routine?
So, a lot of people talk about pronunciation improvement, but it's deeper than that.
Okay.
You're actually training your ear to hear nuances that native speakers often gloss over.
Okay.
It's almost like your brain starts predicting what's coming next.
Okay.
Just like a native speaker would.
So it's not just about me sounding better, it's making me a better listener.
Yes, exactly.
That's huge.
Yeah.
Especially when I'm, in those fast-paced conversations.
Exactly. And that actually leads into another benefit,
Okay.
which is your processing speed increases.
Oh, okay.
The more you shadow, the faster your brain gets at recognizing and decoding English. Think of it as like mental weightlifting for your language skills.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm guessing this also impacts fluency, right?
Absolutely.
Okay.
As you become quicker at processing the language, hesitation decreases.
Okay.
Your spoken English becomes smoother and more natural. Yeah, you'll even find yourself using phrases and structures that you've shadowed
Wow.
without even realizing it.
So it's like learning by osmosis. That's pretty neat. But, I'll admit sometimes I feel a little self-conscious, speaking English out loud.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Do you have any advice for that?
So shadowing can actually help you build confidence. It gives you a safe space to practice
Right.
without the pressure of a real conversation.
Okay.
You can experiment with different sounds and accents, even emotions,
Right.
without judgment.
It's like a rehearsal.
Exactly, yeah.
Okay, but let's get practical. Where should our listeners start?
Yeah.
What kind of materials are we talking about here?
So it kind of depends on their level and their interests, For someone who is already comfortable with podcasts,
Yeah.
starting with beginner material might be too simple.
Right. Our listeners, I'm assuming most of them are past the absolute beginner stage.
Right.
So what would you suggest for someone, at that level?
TED Talks are a fantastic option.
Oh, yeah.
The speakers are really engaging, the topics are really diverse,
Right.
and the vocabulary is a little more advanced.
Yeah, I love TED Talks. There's always something new to discover.
Yeah, for sure.
They cover, everything under the sun.
It's true. Yeah.
But what about something maybe like a little less formal?
So audiobooks are another great option.
Okay.
Especially if our listener is, a fan of fiction
Right.
or biographies.
Hmm.
It's a more immersive experience.
Right.
You can really get lost in the story while, unconsciously absorbing the language.
It's sneaky. I like it.
Yeah.
So let's say our listener, they've got their audio, their gold here. What's the next step? What's the next step in this recipe?
So it's a good idea to listen to the material once or twice.
Okay.
Just to get the gist of it. Don't worry about understanding every single word at this stage.
So it's more about the overall flow.
Exactly.
And getting a feel for the speaker's style.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And if our listener, feels overwhelmed by the vocabulary or the speed, you can always use a transcript for support,
Okay.
at least initially. But You know, the goal is to eventually rely less on those visual aids
Right.
and more on their ears.
So it's about training your ear to become like this, like, super powered English decoder.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay, I like it.
Now, once you feel, somewhat familiar with the material, it's time to hit play and start shadowing.
All right, so main event time.
Yeah.
What are some things to keep in mind while I'm actually doing the shadowing?
So the most important thing is to, like, mimic everything.
Okay.
Not just the words, but the speaker's intonation, their pauses, even their breathing.
Wow.
It's like becoming a vocal twin.
Oh, okay. So it's more than just like parroting the words.
Yeah. Okay.
You're really embodying um, the speaker's delivery style.
Right.
Yeah.
But what about when those native speakers get super speedy?
Yeah.
How do I keep up?
Don't be afraid to adjust the playback speed.
Oh, okay.
Most audio apps have this feature,
Right.
and it can be a lifesaver,
Hmm.
especially when you're starting out.
Right.
And remember, practice makes perfect.
Mhm.
Repeating the same passage
Right.
multiple times
Hmm.
helps build that muscle memory.
Repetition is key.
For sure.
But how do I know if I'm actually improving?
So this is where recording yourself comes in.
Oh, okay.
I know it can feel a little awkward at first,
Yeah.
but listening back to your shadowing and comparing it to the original is invaluable.
It's like having a personal language coach in your pocket.
Exactly, yeah.
Right.
Pay attention to areas where your pronunciation differs from the speakers or where your pace falters.
Mm-hmm.
It's a great way to pinpoint, specific areas for improvement.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So it's like a mirror,
Uh-huh.
reflecting back not just how you sound, but how closely you're capturing the essence of the speaker.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it. Yeah, it helps you identify those little nuances
Right.
that might be slipping through the cracks.
Yeah.
So to add another layer to this,
Mm.
did you know there are actually different types of shadowing?
Wait, hold on. Different types?
Yeah.
I thought it was just like listen and repeat.
Right. So think of them as like levels in a video game.
Okay.
So if you're feeling brave
Okay.
and you want a real-time challenge, there's full shadowing.
Okay.
No safety net of a transcript, just you trying to keep up
Oh, wow. Okay.
with the speaker in real time.
Intense.
Yeah.
Like a mental sprint. What if our listener isn't quite ready for that level of like intensity?
So then we have what's called delayed shadowing.
Okay.
This is like hitting the pause button
Okay.
to catch your breath. You listen to a phrase or a sentence,
Okay.
pause the audio, and then repeat.
Mm.
It gives you more time to process and focus on accuracy.
So it's more about precision than speed.
Exactly, yeah.
Okay.
It's perfect for honing in on specific pronunciation challenges or working on your intonation. And then there's the beginner-friendly option, reading shadowing.
Okay, I'm guessing this involves a transcript.
You got it, yeah.
Okay.
So you follow along with the text
Hmm.
while listening and speaking simultaneously.
Okay.
It provides that extra support and helps you visually connect the sounds
Right.
to the written words.
So it's like training wheels for your shadowing practice.
Exactly, yeah.
You mentioned earlier that shadowing could be like a game changer for IELTS prep.
Yeah.
So for a listener who might be thinking about taking that exam, could you break that down?
Yeah, so shadowing can be an incredibly powerful tool
Okay.
for boosting both your IELTS speaking and listening scores.
Okay. How so?
So for the speaking section, it helps you develop, those natural sounding rhythms and intonation patterns
Right.
that examiners are looking for,
Okay.
plus the confidence that you gain
Right.
from regular shadowing can make a huge difference when you're facing those high-pressure speaking tasks.
So it's like practicing your lines
Uh-huh.
before a big performance, right? The more you rehearse,
Yes,
the more confident and natural you'll sound on stage.
exactly.
Okay, cool. What about the listening section?
So it trains your ear
Okay.
to the pace and nuances of native English speech,
Okay.
which is exactly what you'll encounter on the exam.
Right.
So you'll be better equipped to pick out key information and follow those complex instructions,
Right.
even when the speaker's going at a natural speed.
So it's like giving your ears a boot camp
Yeah, for sure.
for the IELTS listening challenge. I wish I knew about shadowing when I was prepping for exams. I noticed even when I try shadowing, I get like so fixated on individual words.
Yeah.
That I kind of miss like the bigger picture, the overall meaning. Do you have any tips for avoiding that trap?
That's a common pitfall, yeah. Remember, shadowing is not about word-for-word perfection.
Okay.
It's about capturing the essence of the speaker's delivery.
Right.
It's like dancing, you know?
Okay.
You don't focus on individual steps.
Right.
You focus on the overall flow and rhythm.
Ah, okay. So it's more about mimicking the music of the language.
Exactly, yeah.
Okay.
Than hitting every single note perfectly.
Right, right.
And sometimes it can be helpful to focus on specific aspects of pronunciation.
Okay.
You know, maybe one week you target the through sound.
Okay.
Another week you work on mastering the rhythm of English sentences.
It's like cross-training
Yes, yeah.
for your mouth muscles.
Exactly.
Okay, so we've talked about different types of shadowing,
Uh-huh.
tips for IELTS, even, pronunciation specifics.
Yeah.
But how does our listener, make this a regular habit?
Yeah.
Life gets busy.
It does, yeah.
So I guess it's about flexibility.
Exactly. Yeah, that's where flexibility comes in. The beauty of shadowing is you can do it anytime, anywhere.
Right.
You know, commuting to work, walking the dog,
Yeah.
even washing the dishes.
Okay.
Those little pockets of time can become like golden opportunities for language practice.
I love that it's like sneaking in a quick workout, whenever you have a few minutes.
Yeah, for sure.
But but I know, like I personally I struggle with consistency.
Yeah, we get it.
So what advice would you give to stay consistent?
Setting realistic goals is really crucial.
Okay.
Don't overwhelm yourself by trying to, shatter for an hour every day.
Right.
Start small, maybe 10, 15 minutes,
Okay.
and gradually increase the duration
Mm.
as you feel more comfortable.
Well, it's like training for a marathon, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
You don't start by running 26 miles.
You got
You
it.
build up to it. And it helps to like track your progress, right?
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay.
Seeing how far you've come can be incredibly motivating. You could keep a journal or use a language learning app or simply mark your progress on a calendar.
And celebrating those milestones along the way.
Oh, definitely.
Okay.
Every achievement, no matter how small, is worth celebrating.
Right. It could be mastering a tricky sound or shadowing for a longer duration,
Yeah.
or simply, sticking to your practice routine for a week straight.
Totally.
Give yourself a little reward, a little pat on the back.
Yeah, exactly. Helps keep that motivation high.
It's like giving yourself a high five for every step you take towards fluency.
Yeah.
But let's be honest, sometimes shadowing just feels really challenging.
Of course.
The pace gets too fast. I stumble over words.
Yeah.
I start to doubt myself.
Yeah.
What advice would you give our listener for those moments of self-doubt?
So first of all, it's important to normalize those feelings.
Okay.
Every language learner, no matter how experienced, faces moments of frustration. It's all part of the process.
So it's not a sign of failure. It's just a sign that I'm, pushing myself outside my comfort zone.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
Those challenging moments are actually opportunities for growth.
Okay.
So instead of getting discouraged, try reframing them as
Mhm.
learning experiences. What can you learn from those stumbles?
Okay.
How can you adjust your approach to overcome those hurdles?
It's like a weightlifter hitting a plateau,
Uh-huh.
right? It's a sign they need to switch up their routine or try a new technique.
For sure.
Okay, so what are some practical tips for navigating those tricky moments?
So the first and most obvious one is to slow down the audio.
Okay.
Don't be afraid to adjust the playback speed to a pace that feels comfortable for you.
Right. Sometimes we just need to ease up on the gas pedal,
Yeah,
cruise for a bit, then hit the accelerator again.
exactly.
Okay.
Another helpful strategy is to break down the audio
Okay.
into smaller, more manageable chunks.
Mhm.
Instead of trying to shadow a whole sentence or paragraph at once,
Right.
focus on mastering a few words or phrases at a time.
It's like tackling a complex puzzle. You
Mhm.
start by focusing on the smaller sections.
Yeah.
Then you gradually piece it all together
You got it?
to form that complete picture. What if our listeners, they're struggling with a particular sound,
Yeah.
a pronunciation pattern.
Mhm.
How can they like target those weak spots?
So isolating and practicing those sounds separately can be incredibly helpful.
Okay.
You can find tons of pronunciation tutorials online.
Right.
Or you could work with a language partner or a tutor
Right.
to get personalized feedback.
So it's like getting a personal trainer
Exactly.
for your mouth muscles.
Uh-huh.
Okay. But beyond these, like technical tips,
Yeah.
what about the mental game?
Yeah.
How can our listener like stay motivated, and avoid getting discouraged when, those inevitable challenges pop up?
Mindset is everything.
Mm.
Approach shadowing with a spirit of playfulness
Okay.
and curiosity.
Right.
Don't put too much pressure on yourself to be perfect.
Right.
Remember, it's a journey, not a destination.
It's about enjoying the ride.
Yeah?
Right. Embracing the bumps along the way,
Uh,
celebrating every milestone, no matter how small.
exactly. And don't forget to seek out support and encouragement
Right.
from fellow language learners.
Okay.
There are countless online communities and forums where you can connect with others who are on the same path.
Right.
You can share your experiences, learn from each other's successes and challenges.
It's like having like a cheerleading squad for your language learning journey.
Exactly. There's nothing quite like knowing you're not alone in this adventure.
I like that.
Yeah. And remember, feedback is your friend.
Okay.
Don't be afraid to ask for it. From language partners, from tutors, or even online tools that analyze your pronunciation.
It's like having like a coach
Uh-huh.
who can like spot your weaknesses
Yes, yeah.
and help you, strengthen those areas.
Exactly.
But, we've been focusing a lot on the practicalities of shadowing.
Yeah.
I'm curious to hear more about like the deeper, I guess, implications of this technique.
Yeah.
What can you tell our listener about the science behind why shadowing works so well?
So that's where things get really fascinating.
Okay.
So shadowing taps into a fundamental principle of human learning,
Okay.
which is imitation.
Right.
From infancy, we learn by observing and copying those around us.
Right.
It's how we acquire language, social skills,
Mm.
even cultural norms.
So it's like a natural instinct?
It is, yeah.
Okay.
It's wired into our brains.
Right.
And shadowing harnesses that innate ability
Right.
to accelerate our language learning process.
So it's like we're giving our brain like a turbo boost for language acquisition.
Exactly, yeah.
Oh, wow.
And recent research has shown that shadowing can even impact cognitive function beyond language.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Studies have linked it to improvements in working memory, attention span, even multitasking abilities.
That's incredible. So by practicing shadowing, our listener could potentially become more focused,
Uh,
mentally agile
Yes.
and efficient in other areas of their life as well.
It's certainly a possibility, yeah.
Okay.
It's like giving your brain a comprehensive workout, strengthening not just your language muscles,
Right.
but your cognitive muscles as well.
Right, but while those cognitive benefits are certainly a nice bonus,
Yeah.
it's important to remember that the primary goal of shadowing is to improve your English fluency.
Exactly, yeah.
Right. It's about becoming a more confident, a more articulate, and a more natural sounding English speaker.
Exactly, yeah.
And with all the techniques and strategies we've discussed today, our listener has everything they need to make that goal a reality.
They do, yeah.
But before we wrap up,
No.
I'd love to touch upon like the broader significance of shadowing in a globalized world.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Okay, so let's zoom out a little bit.
Hmm?
Look at the bigger picture here.
Yeah.
What role does shadowing play in the context of, intercultural communication
Yeah.
and understanding?
So in today's interconnected world, where borders are increasingly blurred
Right.
and communication is more global than ever,
Right.
the ability to connect with people from different cultures is paramount.
Right.
And language is that bridge that connects us.
It's the key that unlocks, understanding and empathy and collaboration.
Exactly, yeah.
Right.
And shadowing goes beyond just learning words and grammar.
Okay.
It allows us to embody the rhythms,
Okay.
intonation patterns,
Mm.
even the subtle cultural nuances embedded within a language.
It's like stepping into the shoes of a native speaker,
Yeah.
experiencing the world through their linguistic lens.
Exactly.
Okay.
And through that immersive experience, we develop a deeper appreciation for the culture
Hmm.
that language represents.
Right.
We become more attuned to the subtleties of communication, more adept at navigating cultural differences,
Right.
more capable of forging meaningful connections with people from from all walks of life.
It's like expanding our worldview,
Uh,
broadening our horizons,
yes,
and
yes.
embracing the richness of human diversity.
I love that, yeah.
But let's bring it back to our listener who might be feeling a little overwhelmed by all this information.
Yeah.
What are the key takeaways that you want them to remember as they embark on their shadowing journey?
So first and foremost, shadowing is a powerful tool for improving English fluency. It can help you develop natural-sounding pronunciation, enhance your listening skills,
Right.
boost your confidence, and even positively impact your cognitive function.
Like a secret weapon.
It is, yeah.
Yeah.
And remember, there are different types of shadowing
Hmm.
to suit different learning styles and goals.
Right.
Experiment with them.
Mm.
Find what works best for you.
Hmm.
And don't be afraid to personalize your approach.
It's your language journey.
Uh-huh.
Make it your own.
Yeah.
Right.
And most importantly, embrace the challenges.
Hmm.
Don't let those moments of frustration discourage you.
Right.
They're simply stepping stones on your path to fluency.
Right. It's about finding joy.
Uh-huh.
In the process of learning.
Exactly.
Right. In the journey of discovery.
Yeah.
In the beauty of the English language.
Beautifully said, yeah. Now, as we wrap up this deep dive into the transformative power of shadowing, I'd like to leave our listener with a thought-provoking question to ponder.
All right, let's end on a cliffhanger. Hit me with it.
What if the key to unlocking our full potential as human beings
Okay.
lies in our ability to learn from others,
Yep.
to observe and imitate,
Mm.
to step outside of our comfort zones and embrace the unknown?
That's powerful.
Yeah.
It's like shadowing isn't just about mastering a language. It's about mastering ourselves.
Huh?
About pushing our boundaries,
Yeah,
right? And embracing the beauty of continuous learning.
exactly. Yeah.
Right. It's about recognizing that we're all works in progress and that there's always something new to discover,
Yeah.
something new to learn,
Yeah.
someone new to learn from.
Exactly, yeah.
And what better way to learn than by, stepping into the shoes or rather the vocal cords
Yeah.
of someone who's already mastered the skill.
Right, that we aspire to achieve.
Exactly. Yeah, it's like having a personal mentor
Right.
guiding us every step of the way, sharing their insights
Mhm.
and expertise through the very act of speaking.
And who knows, maybe one day we'll be the ones inspiring others
You're right.
with our fluency,
Yeah, right.
becoming the shadowed rather than the shadowers.
That's a beautiful aspiration. And it speaks to the cyclical nature of learning.
Right.
We learn from others.
Mm.
And in turn, we become the sources of inspiration
Right. Yeah.
and knowledge for those who follow in our footsteps.
It's like a never-ending chain of knowledge
Yes.
and inspiration
Yeah.
connecting us across cultures and generations.
I love that.
But as we wrap up this deep dive,
Yeah.
let's offer our listener some practical advice for their own shadowing journey.
Yeah. What are your top tips for making the most of this technique?
So patience is key.
Okay.
Fluency doesn't happen overnight.
Right.
It's a gradual process
Right.
that requires consistent effort
Mm-hmm.
and a willingness to embrace the ups and downs
Right.
of the learning curve.
It's like growing a garden.
Yeah.
Right? You have to nurture it with care, water it regularly,
Uh-huh.
and be patient, right? As it slowly but surely, blossoms into its full potential.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And don't be afraid to experiment.
Okay.
Try different types of shadowing. Explore various resources.
Mm-hmm.
Find what works best for you.
Okay.
There's no one-size-fits-all approach to language learning.
It's like trying on different outfits
Yeah.
until you find, the one that fits you perfectly,
Uh-huh.
the one that makes you feel confident and ready to conquer the world.
And remember, the most important ingredient in this recipe for fluency
Okay.
is enjoyment.
Right.
Choose material that interests you.
Okay.
Find a practice routine that fits your lifestyle
Hmm.
and make it a fun and rewarding experience.
If you're not enjoying the process, you're less likely to stick with it.
Absolutely.
So find ways to make shadowing a joyful part of your day.
Yeah.
Something you look forward to rather than dread. And don't forget to celebrate every milestone along the way.
Definitely. Yeah. Every step forward.
Right.
No matter how small, is a victory worth acknowledging.
Right. Give yourself a pat on the back, treat yourself to something nice, share your achievements with others.
Yeah, it'll boost your motivation
Right.
and keep you moving towards your fluency goals.
Okay. So with all of this in mind, what's the one thing you want to leave our listener with today?
Embrace the power of imitation.
Okay.
It's a fundamental human ability that can unlock incredible potential.
Right.
Not just in language learning, but in all aspects of life. So go forth, shadow warriors,
Yeah.
and conquer the world of English
Hmm.
with with confidence and joy.
And that wraps up our deep dive into the fascinating world of shadowing. We hope you've enjoyed this exploration and feel inspired to embark on your own shadowing adventure. Until next time, happy learning.